TOA community, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Robert Linkle, trainingtheolderadult.com. Hope you're all doing well. This is episode number 16. We are going to talk about extremity loading today when you go out on a walk or a ruck. We're going to dive into, as promised, research article that we found not too long. It's like a year and a half old, but relatively new information with some new product. We're going to look at some of our weights and some of the things that we suggest for people to use. Also, I'm going to dive into a recent video that I did on air travel and on poo, and we're going to give you a little update on that as we've had some recent findings on that, and a couple other little stories, some other fun stuff that we're going to get into. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right. This article, this research article, mind you, comes from, there it is, March 4th, 2021. So 2 years ago, a research study was done on the effect of lower limbs and wearing ankle weights in people over and under the age of 70. And this was done in a protocol. Number one, what was super cool about this, in the research article, I haven't seen this before. They give you a little abbreviation chart, which helped so much because there's so many abbreviations in this. As I'm reading through it, I'm like, what does this mean again? And I'm back to the first page and then back. It helped a ton. The big one you need to know is the CS30, okay, which is the 30-second chair stand test. That means sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up. How many of those can you do in 30 seconds? And that is a protocol that we use with a lot of our older adults. It's part of our sarcopenia screen. Remember, sarcopenia is not atrophy, it's atrophy plus the loss of function. So not only are your muscles shrinking, getting smaller, but you are losing ability. You were once 6'4" and now you're 5'11". You were once able to take 3-foot long steps, now you take 2-foot long steps. You could once pick up that heavy kettlebell, now you can't even budge it, right? All loss of function. Doesn't necessarily mean just because you're getting older that has to happen. We're all on a little bit of a decline, but how drastic, that's up to you. And that's what this type of article is really great at helping kind of define and encouraging people as they get older to stay active and keep lifting weights and keep doing all these little things that can help. And if one of the performance tests, along with grip strength, is the sit to stand test, we use those two as kind of our big overall full body snapshots, okay, to let us know what type of individual is in front of us. Do they have sarcopenia? Can we kind of naturally assume then, if they do, that they have osteoporosis, which almost every single person that has sarcopenia has a bone density issue as well. So, and you see that come up down here with the DEXA scans and everything else that is abbreviated, okay? So what they did was they had participants over the age of 70 and under the age of 70, but between 50 and 90 years old. There were 77 people altogether. They had a dropout or two. It's somewhere up here. I saw it just a minute ago. Basically, they had 77 people throughout the whole thing. They made it 3 months wearing ankle weights as they went about their day and kind of did their normal things. But they tested them on a whole battery of different tests. And so the physical condition, they went through physical conditioning. They had cognitive conditioning, performance body composition, grip strength test, standing on one leg with eyes open. You know how I feel about that. If you don't, watch some of my previous videos. It doesn't work. 30 seconds chair stand test, the CS30. We talked about the timed up and go, which is the tug. It's basically what you get down on the ground and how fast can you get up, right? We timed that. Walking speed, so gait, tempo, cadence. Body sway measurement, or how much do you sway from side to side. That's the Night of the Living Dead walk, right, as people are coming up. And the Japanese version of the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, the MACA-J, before and 3 months after wearing the ankle weights. Now, as they did this, they kind of wore them just on their regular days, but they were also doing, their regular fitness programmings, all their regular stuff. They just literally just added ankle weights to them and then tested them on all this stuff again 3 months later. Everybody across the board, okay, their final finding was that the sit to stand, the 30-second sit to stand test, was improved by both young and older participants. So everybody between 50 and 90 improved that. and is, especially the ones over, as far as you'll see the performance test, the people over 70 did really, really well from it, but all participants improved. And the conclusion from that is that the sit to stand test is a lower limb and trunk muscular scaled strength exercise that can be used as an index of risk of fall, okay? And the result of wearing the ankle weights can be a recommendation as a fall prevention measure, meaning if we're going to put ankle weights on you, we feel like you are a fall risk. You can wear these when you do your day-to-days. This will improve limb strength, hip strength, coordination, stability, ability, right? And muscular endurance across the board if you're wearing these, to the point where it'll reduce your risk of falling down, which is fantastic, okay? Now, I'm sure they found other stuff, and this thing goes deep. Like, it goes into body measurements and all this. Yeah, you had 73 people ages 66 to 76 years of age. Average age was 71. Participants, male, female, all that. They had one person, where was it? One person that got hospitalized, had, basic, a small little injury. I think that's on, there's all the breakdowns. Okay, you can see people that are still working, people that are retired, if they sleep, if they drink well, if they sleep well, if they drink a lot, anything else. They did measurements of all the extremities, the arms, the legs, skeletal structure, all that, like across the board. They did a whole bunch of stuff. There was one up there, did I miss it, where the person fell? They had one person that hurt themselves while they were trying to take off the ankle weights, and they ended up hitting their face on the ground as they were trying to take their weights off, and they had to get some medical attention, but they were fine. That was the only person that nobody dropped out necessarily, but that person had to take a little time off. Oh, there it is. There were no dropouts during the examination period, but one incident occurred in which a participant lost their balance after taking off their ankle weights, AW, and sustained a bruised face, okay? And other than that, everybody did this and they participated and did just fine. You can look at this and go even deeper. There were, 6 or 8 charts like this that went deep on all the measurements and showed all their improvements and all that across the board. But the basic finding was wearing some ankle weights is going to help increase your lower body strength, stability, ability, and ultimately reduce your risk of fall. Love it, okay? All right, so Hyperwear, I work with Hyperwear. Again, I have no financial return to any companies that I recommend. I work with Hyperwear because I really like their product. They have these new wrist and ankle weights. They're actually sending me pairs to try, and so I'll be doing some reviews of that here in the future. But I want to go through the ones that I have, and do I like them? Do I not like them? Do I suggest them to you? If you're going to get some of these in the future, let's kind of talk about it. So ankle weights, these were the original ones that I had when I was a kid. I mean, not these actual ones, but it's the Vallejo, right? These guys, I mean, they've been around, I feel like, forever. I had these ones that were actually filled with sand at the time. And they would break and leak and all that kind of stuff. They've since then improved them to the point where they have a little pocket and there are these little iron, or these little metal bars that you can take in and out. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those. And this is a 5-pounder. So that means each of these is, are these 5s? Yeah, I think these are 5s. So each of these is like a half a pound, okay? And so you could say, like, I only want to do 2 pounds. I only want to do 2.5 pounds, something like that. What I advise is start with a really light weight. Remember, if you add 1 pound to each leg and you walk a mile, okay, that's 5,280 feet. Let's say you're covering 2 feet with every step. Let's just cut it in half. That's at least 2,000 steps that you're taking. If you have 1 pound on each foot that you take, that's an extra 2,000 pounds that your body has just moved, right? Just by adding 1 pound to each foot. 2,000 pounds you moved extra. So do you think that moving 2,000 pounds is going to have a little bit of return to your body? Positive or negative, right? It's going to have something. So what if you're just like, I'm just going to throw all 5 on there. I'm sure I'll be fine. Your hip flexors are going to be wrecked. Your knees might hurt. Your back might hurt from having to throw your legs forward because they're so damn heavy, right? Your body is not used to this. So when we want to produce a overload, we want it to be a gradual, small overload that the body can then adapt to by building more muscle, because there's a little bit of overload that we're going to have to adapt to over and over and over again. What you don't want to do is throw on a huge overload and then your body gets hurt and you can't do it anymore, okay? Well, I'm going to put all 5 on there and just walk a quarter of a mile. You want to roll the dice, go for it. I would rather you do the regular walk you normally do, add a half a pound or a pound, and maybe even if you're going out for 30 minutes, only wear them for 15 and then just put them in your backpack or carry them the rest of the way home, okay? Something like that. Baby steps are my point. Slowly add up, because there's nothing wrong with adding up to 3, 4, maybe even 5 pounds around your ankles. But again, you got to build up. I would say months to even a year to get up to 5 pounds. Extremity loading, though it doesn't sound like a lot of weight, everybody, it is, okay? It is, because you're taking so many steps. I'm going to show you, let me go to my chart here. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but let me show you this, okay? So this was a 10-mile ruck that I did this last Sunday. I was out there for 2 hours and 43 minutes. The amount of time that elapsed, basically, I had to stop to go to the restroom real quick. So there was about, 40 seconds or so there where I did that. And the rest of the time, I was off and moving the whole time. Altogether, I covered 10.04 miles. I burned an active calorie count of 1,500 calories. My overall caloric burn was almost 2,000. Elevation gain, almost 900 feet. My average pace was 16:14, and my heart rate was right around 120 the whole time on average, okay? Which is great. That's my zone 2. It was perfect. Like just what I wanted to do. I left at 4:27 and got back at right after 7 o'clock. It was great. Now, 10 miles, okay? I'm taking on average 3 feet, 3 foot long. Let me do my math here really quick. So that's going to be 5,280 divided by 3, 1,700 steps, okay, that I'm taking every mile. And then we're going to times that by 10. So that's 17,600 steps that I took to go and do this, right? Now, I did that with 35 pounds in a backpack, plus everything else I was hauling. So it was about 40 pounds altogether. So if you do that, 17,000 steps times 40 pounds, that was 704,000 pounds that I moved doing that one workout. That's a ton, okay? Well, it's way more than a ton. That's lots of tons is my point. You can do, depending on how hard you're going, what you're doing here, my whole point of this is you can move a massive amount of load when you think of it in terms of, well, I'm just taking a step and another step and another step, okay? Now, if I were to add 5-pound weights to my ankles, add 10 pounds to all of that, right, as we go, now I'm going to be over probably 1,000 or 100,000 pounds, right? That'd probably get me close to, if not over, another 300,000 pounds moved over 10 miles. Do you see what I'm saying? Like just the addition of a little bit can carry so long if you condition yourself to be able to do some things like that. So baby steps. I'm talking 4.5, almost 5 years now that I've been rucking. And to get to a point where I can do something like that and not have my body be just completely wrecked afterwards. I definitely feel it, but I'm not trashed, okay? So baby steps. Hyperwear also makes those vests. If you watch me work out, those vests right here, okay? We have the gray one that a lot of my ladies wear, the black one that I wear, so that's called the Fit and the Pro. They have an active one. They've got a bunch of them. They make great vests if you want to wear something like that when you go out. All right, outside of that, other extremity loads that we have here. These are 4-pound ankle weights. I got these from Target, and it's the Ignite brand. I saw these on Amazon as well, and very similar. They've got these little pockets and these little like steel bars. They're a little smaller and thinner, and obviously not as easy to get out of here. But you can take these guys out, and I think they're a pound each. Yeah, there's 4 of them in each one. So there's a pound, right? You can just take that whole thing out. There's an extra pound if you just want to do 3 pounds. These ones Velcro, and they have a little cinch tie on them. The other ones have a Velcro. That's all. You just pull tight, Velcro those on, okay? So we have those guys. And basically, like, what's the difference? It's comfort. It's just comfort. If you feel like these are too bulky, the one with the little bars might feel better. These are more of an elastic. They've got some sand and some squishy in between them, and that makes up a pound by itself. And then you've got 3 bars that you can take out of there. You know, you can adjust the weights. They're a little more elasticy. Probably are going to hold a little more water if you're sweating into them, hold more moisture, where those other ones are more of a wick, right? And will kind of wick off. Now, when when we look at the wrist weights, I have not tried these, though I have seen very similar ones on the internet. My brother-in-law has a pair of these. He loves them, uses them all the time. They are pink. Throw them under the bus. Sorry, Renee. They are pink. He loves them though. He uses them every day. Now, I like these guys, and company on these are Go Time Gear. Again, these are not, regular run-of-the-mill, like household fitness names like Played Against Sports or Big Five or Champion or anything like that. But my point is, you got a lot of options out there. These guys Velcro on. They're super pliable. Look how pliable they are, right? You want something that's not going to be really rigid and hurt because you're going to be moving around a lot. So these guys Velcro on. And then what I like about them is the centerpiece, right? When you Velcro it on, you've got that little center break. I put that right over the bony part, the little pisiform in my wrist. I put it right over that, and so I have pliability in my wrist still. It's not super rigid, but it's not going anywhere. What I don't want, there are other wrist weights that I've used where they're too loose and you can't tighten them up and they slide up and down your arm. So if you're moving your arms working up a hill, they're sliding back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it just gets annoying. You end up loosening it up even more, and then you end up putting it like this in your hand. So you have to hold on to it while you're going because you can't, it won't just stay put, right? I want my hands free. I use walking sticks sometimes so I can use my arms more when I'm going uphill. Some people think that's cheating. I think it's more work. It's definitely a lot harder. There's a higher VO2 max because you're using more of your body. It's challenging. Put your sticks in the backpack. When you don't want to use them, you break them out when you do want to use them. Super simple, right? Also, we have animals out there. I'm using my flashlight, spotlight, that kind of thing. If I need to spot them, scare anything away, I need my hands free is my point. And this works great, okay? An extra 2 pounds that you have on there, only negative, they're not adjustable. It's always 2 pounds. Those ones like you have that you see on the screen there, those are adjustable and you can manipulate and move those a little bit. So there's a little review for you, different gear, different pieces of equipment that you can check out if you want to do some extremity loading, either via the ankle or the wrist or both. Start light, don't go too crazy. And this was a recent little bswhealth.com. They talked about 5 activities for building strong bones and a healthy body. Rucking is walking or hiking with a weighted backpack or a vest on. This form of cardio is my personal favorite, they say, because you can do it anywhere and at any time, and it is joint friendly. This is a good option if you have joint issues and cannot jog. I don't think, and I haven't seen research that suggested that jogging is great for bone density, not anymore over resistance training or any of the other strategies that we are implementing, like rucking. If you like to run, run. But people that are diagnosed with osteopenia, early onset of bone softening, or osteoporosis, full-blown diagnosis of bone softening, if you are told to go run to improve your bone density, more than likely you're going to hurt yourself because you already have soft bones. Every time you leave the ground when you run, it's anywhere between 3 and 6 times your body weight on impact when you do that. So you are basically jumping a little tiny bit every single step that you take with rather high impact back on the body. Now, naturally, you would think, well, those high impacts, if I just do a couple of those, then my body will have to get stronger, my bones will get denser. But you're taking, on average, 1,700 steps per mile or whatever we just said, right? That's a lot of impacts, and if you're not conditioned for that, it's way too much. I've seen more damage come from running than I have good. So I think walking is a great way to do it. Extremity loading while walking is even better. And then if you want to wear a vest or a backpack and ruck while you're doing it, it's minimal impact in terms of what are the things that give maximal impact? Well, this is probably one of the least. But then if you go the other direction, you're like, well, let's get in the pool. I'll do stuff. The pool does hardly anything for bone density. It's actually less than your body weight by quite a bit. I want to say 1/3 to 1/2, somewhere around in there. And it actually doesn't do a great job for cardiovascular work in terms of, and everybody just lost their mind when I said that, in terms of bigger individuals who are trying to lose body fat. When you are submerged into water and the cold thermal effect after you get out, you are more hungry and more amped to get more caloric intake. There's all research that supports this. I'm not just making it up, right? Individuals that you spend a lot of time in the water, increased appetite, number one. Bigger individuals like myself don't burn as much caloric per minute, don't burn as many calories per minute in the pool as we would if we were rucking, lifting weights, doing other activities. So if you're trying to increase bone density and decrease body fat and build muscle, this is your jam. And there's plenty of research to show that rucking okay, for people that ruck, 10 to 15 miles a day, every day for 21 days, increased VO2 max, burned body fat, did not lose muscle at all, and but didn't build muscle either. They didn't lose it though, which is a big concern when you're doing cardio, is like you're either in a cutting phase or you're in a bulking phase. And with rucking, you're able to get strong, build muscle mass when you lift, and then ruck and have a cardiovascular base, but not go backwards in terms of burning away muscle mass as long as you're eating appropriately. Anyhow, going into a whole little tangent on this, but there's quite a lot of benefits. It comes down to rucking, walking, extremity loading, whatever you want to do here. If you can walk, this can be a great opportunity for you to do so. And you can see, some of the benefits and such that we talked about. Okay, to wrap things up here, we're about 20 minutes in. I did a video. Let me jump to that one. I did a video. Nope, that's not it either. Right here. I did a video a few days ago called Poop. Everything you need to know about poo, plus some funny stories and some experiences. Okay, we just put it up a day ago. You can see I only have 72 views on there. But if you want to pop over there, check that out. I would love to have your feedback, and I hope you enjoy the stories. I intend to, on some of these, make it entertaining and make it fun, but also give you some education. And I feel like I delivered that. I hope you'll like it. I think you'll like it. But one of my friends, one of our affiliates, our TOA affiliates, sent me this last night. And she goes, you can be grateful that you weren't on this flight, this Delta flight to Spain, because I was on a Delta flight. Poor guy, I guess he missed his poo window before it was time to board. We talk about windows and how everybody kind of has this poo window. And mine, it's between 2:30 and 3:30 a.m. That's when I'm getting up. I'm getting, my body moving. I'm getting ready. I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go do my workout. I go have my window, 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm back in here and I'm ready to go. If I miss that window, it's not happening again until 5 or 6:30 at night, right? That's my second window. And everybody's pretty routine. If you're eating regularly and you're eating consistent foods, you're not having stuff that's like, we've never tried this before, never tried this place before. If you're doing all kinds of different things, you never know what your body's going to respond. But if you're eating rather consistent food, which basically I eat the same thing for breakfast, same thing for lunch every single day, and then we have different dinners. And again, out of our dinners, we have like 8 to 10 dinners, and we cycle them through because everyone likes them and we all eat it, and they're very healthy options. So that's what we do as a family. Probably not the greatest variety, but we don't really need a lot of variety. And guess what? We don't get explosive diarrhea when we go on airplanes, okay? So this individual on a, a 777 or so, and there's 336 people on this flight, okay? And they are flying from Atlanta to Spain. And as they're about a third of the way there, this individual, okay, Flight 194, this individual goes, I got poo, but apparently didn't get that brain to bowel connection in time. So when they went to get up, not only did they, I'm sorry to be gross and graphic, fill up their seat, but then leaked all the way down the aisle in the airplane, all the way to the bathroom, what can only be described as a shit ton of shit, leaked all the way down the airplane and got everybody sick, okay? Everybody gets sick because you're now in a, 40,000 foot high tube full of poo air because it's all repurposed packaged air that's getting cycled. You can't crack open a window, right, and let this thing air out. What are you going to walk around with air spray, and like fresheners? You can't light a candle. I mean, what are we doing at 40,000 feet with like freshly exposed poo on the ground? Well, apparently, as I went in to read the comments of other people that were on the airplane, they were covering it with napkins and spraying it with Windex. That's what they had to deal with basically on the airplane. And so they had to do a U-turn and go back. So you're a third of the way to Spain. You got to turn around and go back all the way back to Atlanta because somebody on this A350 Airbus apparently had explosive diarrhea and ruined the trip for 335 other individuals, okay? Now, who knows? They go in this article, they go deep. They talk to doctors and researchers, and they go deep into all the things that all the pathogens and disease and all this that people can get, especially from diarrhea, okay? And how that being exposed on the airplane, they're like within a minute, everybody had that in their mouth, in their nose, all over their body. These folks are covered in poo particles from this individual who was now obviously not well, okay? All of us have had that. You get that little thing in your stomach and you're like, uh-oh, I'm about to have a problem, okay? This person missed that window and just said, I think I can wait another 6 hours until we land. They didn't make it, okay? Not only did they not make it, they ruined everybody else's life, because now every time these 335 people go to get on an airplane, what do you think they're going to remember as the worst experience of their life, okay? On an airplane, I don't think it gets a whole lot worse than this, other than if the plane went down. And maybe many of those folks were wishing that this is a pretty shitty situation, if you know what I mean, okay? So these folks, what was really funny, like this is, I'm having a giggle, okay? But these folks on whoever this is, this individual here on X, which is now Twitter, X, I don't know what that means, but apparently that's the new Twitter handle. So they put up pictures, and I can only imagine, these are the little printouts, you know, like in the tower, you know, it's like Delta Airline 197 tower, we're gonna need to make a U-turn for explosive diarrhea. Like, that's what you're putting out over there. Everyone can see this. Anybody can see these. So now all these people, that's what these pictures are. These are other people that printed out, like, here's the map of the plane going out and going, oh, we got to go back, right? We had to make a shit U-turn. We got to go back. Did we just pass? Was that a rest stop, everybody? Did we pass? Can we flip back, Dad? Can you turn around the RV real quick? Oh, Rob's got to go to the bathroom. Oh, we didn't make it in time. What are you going to do now for the next 3 hours on an airplane at 40,000 feet with fresh poo just splashed up and down the aisles? And if you think I'm joking, go on the internet and look. There are photos I'm not showing you because they're too gross for me to put on the screen. They couldn't do anything with it, gang. The co-pilot, as one person said, I don't know if this is true, the co-pilot was out trying to help clean it up because it was so gross. They were gagging and people, I mean, it sounds terrible. So in lieu of making loo, get it? To the loo, head to the loo. Come on, that's funny. Head to the loo. I didn't plan on that one. That one just gonna happen. Head to the loo. Oh, I cracked myself up. Anyhow, you want some more poo information? The other video actually talks about like how often should you poo, and you know how much should you poo, and should it like explode or should it just be normal? Because I've got some stories about being in the airport and like why is it every time I'm in there, like I'm doing my normal like ploppity plop, normal poop, and then I hear like kablamo next to me and splashing and awful smells, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I talk about all that in a not so graphically gross way as best I can, but also by giving you education and researching articles and showcasing that we should all talk about poo, okay? We should. You should be comfortable talking about poo. And your poo is definitely gonna give you a lot of feedback onto how your life is going and how your body is running. And if you're not pooing on a regular basis, okay, which in my opinion, my wife's opinion, our research has found, everybody should be pooing at least once a day, okay? If it's once every other day, then probably all right, but your system's not running as efficient. We talked to some folks that it's like once a week or twice a week. I don't know if that's great, okay? Some of the research said it's fine, but I don't know if that's great. But then on the other side, some people are going 3, 4, 5 times a day. I don't know if you're going too far on the other end, okay? Now we're not just talking about going to urinate. We're talking about like actual poo every single time. Your body's trying to tell you some stuff, okay? You gotta be aware, you gotta recognize maybe something's going on. You should look into it a little bit. All right, team. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. We talked about 2 very different ends of the spectrum. I can't help it, okay? I said the other day, chronologically, 42, almost 43, okay? Biologically, probably 70, 75. I think I used to be like 80, 85. I'm getting better, okay? Emotionally, 13. Still, I laugh at ball jokes. I make poo jokes. Come on. I mean, I try to deliver and have fun and keep it serious, but every once in a while, a little 13-year-old Bobby comes out, and this is what you get. I hope you all enjoyed this, had some fun, had some smiles, some giggles, maybe a few gross moments, but hey man, you got to get some information from somewhere. And if I can be the one to help deliver some satisfying stories like that, tell that story around the dinner table tonight. I'm sure the family will love to hear it right when they're about to bite into their whatever food you're about to have. I was going to say something gross like beans. Anyhow, you guys have a good one. Continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. Like, subscribe, share, all those good things. Please help us grow the channel. We love and appreciate you all. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.